I think international community in general, with the majority of the General Assembly on the United Nations, who recognized the Palestinian state, he recognized the Palestinians' rights in terms of self-determination, in terms of independency. The only solution where international community agreed on so many UN resolutions, Security Council resolutions, which was taken in favor of Palestine, but unfortunately they never implemented these resolutions. The international community had accepted the two-state solutions. The international community has accepted that the only solution to have a comprehensive peace agreement, to have a settlement in the Middle East, where Israelis and the American administration, with some of the European countries, has to recognize the Palestinian rights in an independent Palestinian state on the 1967 borders, according to UN Resolution 242 and 338. Without the Israelis recognizing the rights of Palestinians on 1967 borders, on Al-Quds as a capital of an independent Palestinian state, Middle East will continue to suffer, and Middle East will continue to be unsafe for not just Palestinians, for all neighboring countries.
I understand his NDC. You've expressed this even in our last interview, and I think for every single interview done so far, it has still been the same mostly. But is the two-state solution, viable to begin with?
It is the only solution. There is no other choice. There is no other solution. Palestinians will continue their struggle, will continue to fight until they get rid of the Israeli occupation and they enjoy peace and enjoy independence similar to any other nation around the globe. This is a reality that the Israelis has to understand. Those who support Israel has to understand, and international community must help Palestinians to achieve this objective. The international community, if he looked through two eyes and been fair with Palestinians, he could succeed in force the Israeli occupier force to stop the massacre and to stop the genocide against our Palestinians. From the Israeli point of view, good Palestinian is dead Palestinians. They do not differentiate between a Palestinian in Rafah or a Palestinian in Jenin. To the Israelis, they all targeted by the Israelis. The issue is, will the international community continue to allow and provide a cover to Israel to continue violating the international law when the Israelis are going to be asked to stop their genocide and their massacre against Palestinians? Why international community failed to take sanctions against Israel, similar to what they did in Ukraine against Russia? If the international community is fair with Palestinians, same sanctions taken against Russia can be taken against Israel. We have been struggling for more than 7.5 decades, and international community, through their representatives on the ground in Palestine, continue to witness on daily basis violation of international law, violation of all human rights. If the Western world believe in human rights and in democracy, why do they accept what the Israelis are doing? Palestinians have a sole representative, which is PLO, who accepted to negotiate the Israelis to achieve a comprehensive peace agreement to enable both Palestinians and Israelis live in peace. Unfortunately, Benjamin Netanyahu and his government, who assassinated Yitzhak Rabin, their own prime minister, when we were almost close to achieve a peace agreement during Yasser Arafat days, our president at the moment, Mahmoud Abbas, who accepted to achieve a peace agreement, unfortunately, there is no Israeli counterpart. There is nobody in Israel who is interested. The Israeli community is going more and more towards extremism, towards the right, and Israelis are not interested in peace. If we have an Israeli leadership who is serious to achieve a peace agreement, this can be achieved and both nations can live in peace. Unfortunately, the present Israeli government is going towards extremism, and they are violating the international law. They are attacking Gaza. They are attacking the West Bank. They are attacking Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and East Jerusalem, and they are not recognizing the Palestinian rights. With such government in Israel, how can we achieve peace? We as Palestinians believe that peace is the option. War is not a solution. War will never achieve to the Israelis what they dream of. Regardless of what they do, regardless of normalizing diplomatic relations with some Arab and Muslim countries, only by the Israelis recognizing the Palestinian rights, that's the only solution for them to live in peace and enjoy peace in the Middle East. Well, this Israeli propaganda of countering Hamas, no one can believe it anymore. Because if you look into the casualties in Gaza, are they Hamas? Majority of the casualties in Gaza are innocent Palestinians who have nothing to do with Hamas or Fatah or anybody. Palestinians, the top priority for Palestine and Palestinians to get rid of the Israeli occupation. The occupying force has to leave our territories, and then our Palestinian people will decide whether is it Hamas who's going to lead, whether it's Fatah is going to lead. The main top priority at the moment is the Israeli occupation. The Israeli rocket, when it hits Khan Yunis, or it hits Rafah, or it hits Nablus, or it hits Jenin, do not differentiate between this Palestinian and that Palestinian, between Hamas and Fatah. All Palestinians are targeted and struck by the Israeli forces. This is the main issue. The issue, it is not Hamas. The issue, it's not Fatah. Palestinians' top priority is the Israeli occupation. Al-Quds was occupied the same as Gaza, the same as the West Bank. It's an occupied territory which was occupied in 1967. Before 1967, it was under the Jordanian authority. So, and still Jordanians are involved in the management of the holy places like Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and the Dome of the Rock and the Christian holy places as well in Palestine. So they are the Hashemite, family in Jordan. They are the custodians of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa according to a treaty which was signed between us and Jordan. So without the Israelis recognizing Al-Quds as the capital, no Palestinian state without Al-Quds, no Palestinian state without Gaza, no Palestinian state without the West Bank. This is a one unit territories which was occupied in 1967. International community, Arab world, Muslim world, all international community must recognize that the 1967 borders are the maximum for the Palestinians to accept of historical Palestine. When we accepted to have an independent Palestinian state in 1967 border, this is the maximum that any Palestinian can give. If the Israelis believe that a Palestinian state without Al-Quds, this will never happen. And no Palestinian will accept that.
So it's returning to the 1967 borders priority, maximum.
That's the maximum any Palestinian can give. At the UN, I think all focus at the moment is to put an end to the Israeli genocide at the moment, to help those Palestinians who are homeless in Gaza, to help those Palestinians who have no food, no drinking water in Gaza to help Palestinians, those who are in need of a health, assistance, because all our health service collapsed in Gaza, to see what they can do to help the Palestinians settled even in a tent, because they had lost their houses. They lost. There is at least majority of Gaza residents, the 2.3 million, at the moment living in refugee camps. While they are living on the tents on these refugee camps, the Israelis are targeting them even while they are sleeping during the night hours on these tents. So we asking the international community to help those Palestinians just to be safe where they are and resettle them in Gaza Strip. It is our struggle in diplomacy to achieve a full membership at the General Assembly to enable Palestinians enjoy their membership similar to any other country around the globe. That's where we ask all the Western countries who are still questioning a full membership of Palestine at the United Nations to take a brave decision and recognize Palestine full membership. So far we have over 145 countries recognizing Palestine. We are looking to have 194 countries recognizing Palestine at the United Nations. There are three main top priorities at the moment for Gaza. Number one, to have an immediate unconditioned ceasefire as a priority number one. Number two, to start and help Palestinians in Gaza, to provide them with all humanitarian aids needed for their daily life, to make sure that they get enough food, enough water, enough medicine to be treated. Number three, to provide them with a shelter. We are very close on the winter season at the moment in Gaza, where all those Palestinians who lost their homes, who are homeless, they will be suffering during a very cold winter again. So, priorities is, as I told you, have an immediate ceasefire, give them the very basic humanitarian aids, give them a shelter, and then work on rebuild Gaza. Then we can start rebuilding Gaza, which will take decades. It's not easy just to refix what the Israelis damaged. There is an Arab Peace Initiative, which was announced by Crown Prince Abdullah of Saudi Arabia, which was accepted by the Arab League, which then was accepted by the Muslim OIC countries, which became the Arab Islamic Countries Peace Initiative.
Why do you think it's still, why do you think Palestinian statehood is still unattainable, even until today?
Because there is no Israeli counterpart. There is no Israeli government or leadership who are interested to achieve peace. Israel continue to believe of their superiority in military capabilities because they are provided with all kind of army capabilities by the United States of America and many of the European countries, and they believe that they are a superpower in the Middle East. So why should they go to peace? Why should they choose, peace as a strategy? They believe that if they are maintained as a superpower in the Middle East, so they can do what they want. That's exactly when the Arab ministers or foreign ministers initiated that and highlighted that. There is no Israeli counterpart who is interested to work for peace and to achieve peace with the Arab world and the Muslim world. We as Palestinians always believe that all OIC countries and all Arab countries are supporting us, that recognizing Israel will take place only after the Israeli recognize the Palestinian rights in an independent Palestinian state. For example, Malaysia. Well, the initiative of the Prime Minister when he visited Cairo through his meeting with the President Sisi, Malaysia showed its interest to welcome some Palestinian injured to be looked after and treated in Malaysia. This was coordinated between the Ministry of Defense in Malaysia and the Egyptian authorities. Your question, according having some more Palestinians, I am not aware of any more Palestinians coming to Malaysia. These injured Palestinians, as soon as they complete their treatment in Malaysia, they will be sent back to where they came from in Egypt. It's not easy, since majority of them are children and women. It's not easy for them to adapt to a new culture, you know. I mean, the way Malaysian can eat is different than the way Palestinians can eat. I know food is food, but I personally, when I met with them, I visited them 3 times. I tried to explain to them, you have an opportunity that you managed to come to Malaysia. There are thousands of Palestinians who are suffering that they do not have such opportunity. So just thank Malaysia, thank the Malaysian people, the Malaysian government, for such initiative where they accommodated you in Malaysia, and we always pray for Almighty Allah that this will be on the balance of all Malaysians in heaven, inshallah.
And the treatments are doing well at the moment?
I am really happy with the briefing I received from the authorities in the hospital and who are in charge of these patients.